Hey there YouTube, this is Vargas XX78 with another collection pickup video. Well, it's the weekend guys, so those are the 2 days that I use to go to, Blockbusters, pawn shops, and Overwheels to see what I add to the collection. And this week I was able to pick up some really interesting things with two major additions to the collection. I'm talking epic things here, but at least to me anyway. But let's get started. First off, I wanted to show you guys this little addition. This is stock. I believe it's stock from The Nightmare Before Christmas. He's part of the trio that serves Oogie Boogie. And this one isn't as detailed as the other toy I got, Barrel, the little one that opens his mask. But, it's The Nightmare Before Christmas, and I can't resist picking up anything I find from that movie. It's, like I said before, my favorite movie of all time, so really happy to add that little guy. Now, I've mentioned before my milestone video games. There are those video games that, for X reason, are like, epic additions to my collection. And this is the first of the milestone video games I wanted to share. I picked up for the GameCube Mario Party 6. And the reason why this game is so special is because, one, it's a GameCube game. Two, it's a Mario game. And three, this video game represents my 650th video game in my collection. So I officially own 650, with this one, 650 video games on the Nintendo consoles. So really, really happy to get this one. The game itself, I remember playing Mario Party 1 on the N64. And that one was fun, but the way you played the mini games was really hard on the controller and on the hands, because some mini games you had to circle the analog stick, and I literally broke a controller that way. So I played Mario Party 3, and then I didn't play any other Mario Party game, but this one is cool because it introduces a night and a day element to the mini games, and I actually like this one a lot. So it's another thing going to its favor. So really happy to add that to the collection. Then I picked up for the NES Snake's Revenge. This is a video game I've been looking for a long while, since it's a sequel to the Metal Gear game that came out also on the NES. You could tell that Hideo Kojima didn't have anything to do with this, because they remove a lot of the stealth elements. There are some at the beginning, but not as much as on the first one. And Snake is not using this really cool camouflage thing. He's wearing this bright red uniform, which really defeats the purpose if you want to be stealthy. But it's a Metal Gear game. I've been looking for it because I want to complete my Metal Gear collection, and it's actually not as bad. It's okay. So now I'm only missing Peace Walker on the PSP and Ghost Babel on the Game Boy Color, and that's another one I've been looking for a while and haven't been able to find. So maybe one day. And a Blockbuster I went to, I picked up Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time. I love the main series of Pokemon. The RPG ones are my favorite ones. I haven't played that many spin-off games, with the exception of Pokemon Snap. I really dug Pokemon Snap. So I saw this one at a good price. I decided to pick it up, and I'm actually glad I did. This is a rogue type RPG. You enter randomly generated dungeons, but what makes them annoying is that if you die within a dungeon, you lose all your money and you lose all your items. The good thing about this one is that you don't really lose your experience, so you have that going to your favor. But it's actually a really fun game. I really like this one a lot. At a pawn shop that had a clearance sale, I picked up, also for the GameCube, the Herbs, Sims in the City. I have so much stuff to do in my life, I really can't dedicate too much time to this type of game, this one or Sims. Because you have to create your character, and you have to take care of him. You have to satisfy his needs and get him to interact with people and stuff like that. And like I said, I do that in real life. I don't want to sit down and do that on a video game. The only game I did that in small doses was Animal Crossing, because I like that one and the whole collecting thing. And you could play NES games on it, so that's the only type of game that I really like. This one I picked up because it looked better than The Sims. You know, you're in a city and you can, you know, interact with people, and the mini games on this is actually better than on the Sims games. So I liked it. I'm glad I picked it up, but like I said, I won't dedicate too much time into it. It's just too time consuming, and I have too much stuff to do. So, but glad to add it to the collection nonetheless. And uh, the last video game I want to show with you guys is also another one of my milestone games for also a lot of reasons. Number one, it's a Legend of Zelda game. I love the Legend of Zelda games. It's one of my favorite franchises. Ocarina of Time, like I've mentioned before, is actually my favorite game of all time. And so it's a Zelda game for the Game Boy. It's the only Zelda game I was missing. I didn't own the Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX. I own the regular black and white version, but not the DX version. Sure, I would have preferred if it was black and white. I mean, if it was boxed and complete, but this guy I buy video games from had it. I asked him how much. He said 40 pesos, which is like $3.50, and I jumped at the occasion to pick it up because, like I said, I've been trying to track down this game. And it's also a milestone game because this little baby here is my 900th video game. I with this one I own 900 video games between the Dreamcast, all the Nintendo consoles, and the Sony consoles. So yeah, this for me is a historic video game because I never, as a kid, never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would reach or own 900 video games. That's just, you know, it still blows my mind when I think about it. But what can I say about this game? It's a Zelda game. It's awesome. It's epic. If you connect it to the Super Game Boy, you don't get the color effect, but you get a really cool background. If you play it on the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Player on the GameCube, it does get color, and you have access to an extra dungeon. So that's really cool. So yeah, really, really glad I picked up the last Zelda game I was missing, and that it represents my 900th video game. Really, really happy about that. On to some movies. At Blockbuster, I picked up Stallone's Rocky Balboa. Now, with Rambo, I wasn't too sure about him revisiting the character. With Rocky, I was glad that he revisited the character. This is a really, really good movie, in my opinion. I really liked it. From the Rocky movies, the first one is my favorite by far. I totally dig the first Rocky movie. And this one is actually kind of an interesting reversal on that. Well, in a sense. I mean, the first Rocky movie, he was this unknown boxer that was going to fight in an exhibition fight with Apollo Creed, the then champion. And no one expected anything from Rocky. You know, his life was a mess. The only good thing going for him was Adrian. And, you know, he trained hard and he went the distance with Apollo Creed. And everyone was like, whoa. So I really like that. And with this one, they take away Adrian. Adrian has passed away. He's a washed-up boxer that owns his restaurant. And during a virtual simulation, kind of like Fight Night, they put him against the current champion, Mason the Lion Dixon. So that inspires Rocky to try to box again, and no one thinks he's going to do that well because he's old, and, you know, the licensing committee doesn't want to give him his fighting license because they think it's a health risk, but his own son doesn't think he should do it. You know, everyone's against the idea, but Rocky still has something to prove, and because of the virtual simulation, they actually set up a fight between Dixon and Rocky. And again, everyone thinks it's a joke, that there's no way that Rocky will do anything. But in the end, he proves them wrong. He once again goes the distance, and it gives one hell of a fight. And this is actually my favorite fight scene in the Rocky series. They do this whole pay-per-view thing from HBO, so it looks authentic and it looks in HD. And I was watching the special feature of the making of, and Sylvester Stallone actually took real punches from the guy that played Dixon, who's a real boxer. So a lot of those hits are dead on reels, and they look painful. But uh, you know, Rambo had a really epic last scene, and this one also is really epic. I really like Rocky Balboa. I'm really glad he did it. So props to Stallone for that. Also on Blockbuster, I picked up Shrek 1 and 2. My favorite of the Shrek series. I didn't care for Shrek 3, and I didn't even go watch Shrek 4. But Shrek 1 is an awesome movie. The animation is cool. The story about the ogre who falls in love with the princess, who's a badass princess, and the talking donkey. Just a really funny movie. Another movie I actually prefer in Spanish. Not to take anything away from Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy, and Cameron Diaz, but the Spanish actors really give the whole story an interesting flavor, which I really enjoyed. And the story continues in Shrek 2. I like this one too. It's not as funny as, at least to me, as Shrek 1, but it has a lot of really cool stuff like Puss in Boots. I think he's funny. And the Fairy Godmother, and the animation is actually way better than in Shrek 1. So, two really good movies. Really happy to add them to the collection. Then at a pawn shop, they had a liquidation sale or something like that. So they were selling a lot of stuff low priced, including some UMD movies. Now I know UMD is a dead format, but I was still able to pick up two movies for 10 pesos, which is less than $1. And I picked up 28 Days Later. This is a really cool. I don't know what they are. Are they zombies? Are they vampires? Who knows? But it's about this guy that wakes up in the hospital and realizes that the zombie apocalypse has happened, and everyone's infected with this disease that makes them, bloodthirsty monsters, and he's trying to survive that. The really cool movie. I actually liked it a lot. And I picked up Batman the movie with Adam West and Burt Ward. As a kid, like I said, I grew up watching the old 60s TV series, and I thought it was, even then, was really over the top and silly. But it's Batman. I pick up anything that's Batman, and this movie does have its spiritual successor with Return to Batcave. They actually show clips from this movie, so I had to pick it up. And it stars the Penguin, the Joker, the Riddler, and Catwoman. So, good stuff. And the last thing I picked up is Pan's Labyrinth. This is another Guillermo del Toro movie, and I love Guillermo del Toro movies. Blade 2, the two Hellboy movies, Chronos, The Devil's Backbone, just really cool movies. And this one is like a fairy tale. This little girl finds out that she's a reincarnation of a princess of an underground kingdom. So Pawn, who's got like this weird tree thing, sets her up to missions to prove her worth. But the story takes place during the Spanish Revolution, so it's it has a lot of really dark and really disturbing scenes. But it's a really cool movie. It's an interesting fairy tale. So really happy I picked that one up. So yeah, those were my collection pickups for this week. Since I started doing it again, I try to do this in every video. I like to recommend something that stands out. Movie wise, I'll definitely recommend Rocky Balboa. Like I said, it's a really cool movie, and I totally dig it. This is my second favorite Rocky movie, right after the first one, and it's a really cool bookend to the series. So definitely Rocky Balboa. And game wise, I'll go with The Legend of Zelda. Can't go wrong with any Zelda game. The DX, if you already have the original one, the DX actually does have some big improvements, so definitely The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. So yeah, so that's it. Until I make another video, guys, this is Vargas XX78, signing off.